Using instance profile, IAM roles can be attached to an EC2 instances while launching or running it. There's an EC2 instance which has a program running in it. These are the AWS services running in the same AWS account where this EC2 instance is running. This program needs access to perform some operations on the AWS resources. We can create a role that has all the necessary permissions required by this EC2 instance. This role can be attached to the EC2 instance while launching or after the instance is launched and make this application to get credentials from this role. Once that is done, this program can access AWS resources as needed. Let's see a demo now. We'll use the same role which we created in the previous demo and we'll attach those roles to an EC2 instance while launching it and to another EC2 instance which is already running. I have two instances running. Let me see if we can access any of the resources from these two instances. First, I'll log into EC2 instance profile 1. This is an Amazon Linux instance and it already has AWS CLI installed. I'm using this S3 API CLI command to list all the buckets. When I press enter, it says unable to locate credentials. You can configure credentials by running AWS configure. So if you run AWS-configure, that you have to mention your access key ID and secret access key. But this is not a secure way to do so. So the other way is using roles. Now, if I attach a role to this EC2 instance, I should be able to run this S3 API command without any credentials whatsoever. Let us go ahead and create the role for this EC2 instance. The trust policy would be different for services. We cannot use the existing S3 role which we created earlier because in that trust policy we have mentioned a different account. But herein we'll have to mention EC2 instance. Click on roles and then click on create role. Here you have multiple options: AWS service, another AWS account, web identity and SAML. I cannot show you web ID and SAML. We have already seen another AWS account. This time I'll have to use AWS service. So which AWS service I want this role to be attached to? That is EC2. Click on next permissions. We'll use the same AWS managed policy which is Amazon S3 full access. Click on review. Then click on create role. If you see the role here, in the permission policy there's no change, Amazon S3 full access. But in the trust relationships, you can see that the principal has changed. This time, instead of AWS, it has service, and instead of any ARN, it has ec2.amazonaws.com. That means it is saying that any EC2 instances can assume this role. To attach that role to this EC2 instance, click on this instance and then click on Actions, Instance Settings, Attach Replace IAM Role. Here, instance profile role is coming. Click on this and then click on Apply. The role has been applied. Now I should be able to run the same command again. This time it is giving me the output. It is showing all the three buckets which we created earlier. Now you might ask where this instance is getting the temporary security credentials from. The answer is instance metadata. These are all instance metadata information which you can get from 169.254.169.254/latest/metadata. Here you have an option called IAM. Under that there are two options, one is info and the other one is security credentials. Under this security credentials, we have another information which is EC2-instance-profile-role, which is our role name. If you open that role, it will give you the access key ID, secret access key and access token. This is how EC2 instance is using the role or getting the security credentials from. It has an expiration. The expiration time is this. You can attach this role while launching an EC2 instance also. Click on Launch Instance. And in Configure Instance Details, you have something called IAM role. You can attach the role here also and everything else remains same. That's how EC2 instance profile works.